The National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a constitutional duty to make laws for peace and good governance. This it has continued to do by conscientiously reviewing and amending laws where necessary to strengthen our democracy.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land.
The old national anthem, Nigeria, we hail thee, was used from 1960 to 1978 and holds historical significance. It was no surprise, therefore, that the majority leaders of the 10th Assembly of Nigeria's bicameral legislature, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele and Representative Julius Ihovere, sponsored the National Anthem Bill for consideration and passage. Reverting to the old anthem allows Nigerians to reconnect with their cultural heritage and early years of independence. The debate in both chambers of the 10th National Assembly was robust.
Nigeria, at its independence in 1960, adopted the national anthem titled Nigeria, we hail thee. The concept, phraseology, and the ideological connotation of this anthem conveyed and epitomized the significant historic heritage of our dear country, Nigeria. The anthem, upon rendition, inspired and stimulated deep sense of patriotism in Nigerians. You will also agree with me that those who were around in the 1960s and the late 70s would attest to the fact that the anthem played quite a significant and crucial role in shaping Nigeria's national identity and unity, as well as engendered high sense of value and personal belonging amongst the citizenry. It was symbolic of Nigeria's rich cultural heritage and nationhood. In retrospect, the anthem served as regular and constant reminder of our journey as a nation and provoked feelings of nostalgia and fond memories of the country's early years. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, at this momentous time in our national history, it is imperative that we utilize any platform that seeks to unite the country and promote patriotism among Nigerians.
The old national anthem is an anthem, is like a battle cry. It urges us to love Nigeria. It urges us that Nigeria is united and that we are all brothers. The current national anthem is drab. It evokes no message, it carries no message. I therefore urge my colleagues to support this bill to ensure that we get back to where we started.
I support this bill to be read the second time so that Nigerians across board, the entire strata of the society, should be invited and be involved in deciding what becomes the national anthem, which at the moment we are considering a revert to the old one.
If you say, arise, O compatriots, what about the non-compatriots? Are they not part of Nigeria? But if you look at the old item, it says, Nigeria, we hail thee. It talks to the mind of Nigeria. It starts with elevating Nigeria in its value. And a country, national item, must talk to its values.
While I may not have been there when this anthem was changed, I'm a student of history and I know that it was done during the military era. I'm not sure how much consultation was done during the process, but I think this is an opportunity for us to have a wider and broader consultation with the general public and the people who we represent. If this is indeed what they require at this time, and if the wordings of the previous anthem resonates more with their beliefs, their emotions, and their understanding of Nigeria today.
When the national flag was waving, a lot of people were in tears. I think it will bring back, because even here in chapter 2 says, our flag shall be our symbol. Our flag shall be our symbol that we are Nigerians. So it also talks about the fact that truth and justice should reign in our country, in peace. Even in battle, we must honor that flag. We count it as gain to hand to our children a banner without stain. It's almost like a commitment. With a prayer that God of creation should grant this our one request. God should help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, which we have in abundance, Nigeria may be blessed. We have heard from all, and I want to thank you all. Distinguished leader of the Senate, I want to thank you for bringing this bill. And maybe because I was born in that era, and not in the Gen Z era, this bill. Committed to the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, in addition to the Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, to report back to the Senate as soon as possible.
A time comes in the life of every organization or nation when the people must sit down, look at the past, the present, the future, and have the courage, the sense of mission and the sense of nation to define and design the way forward. I believe that Nigeria is at that stage momentarily. Great men have changed history. Whether you look at the history of Tanganyika under Mzilikazi, or you look at the wonderful contributions and historic exploits of Shaka Zulu, which is being used in many military academies today, or you look at Garibaldi, Mazzini, Count Camillo Cavo in the old Italian city-states, or you look at Bismarck in the German city-states, or you come to Nigeria and look at Murtala Mohammed. For the brief period he ruled this country, he had the courage to do things differently, to think differently, and to take unpopular positions that Nigerians adjusted to slowly, reluctantly, but recognized how important these were even after he died. Mr. Speaker, this bill is straightforward. It is a bill that seeks to enjoin us to look at our anthem as a national symbol and sign of authority, one that will pull us together, that will give us hope and courage, a sense of duty to the nation, that does not necessarily deny the reality. So it seeks to say that as people, as Nigerians, confronting a new, renewed hope, moving forward, tackling the rot, decay, dislocation, and distortions of the past, we should go back to our old national anthem, which gives us that energy, that sense of commitment, sense of dedication, and a desire to move Nigeria forward.
Whilst it is our function to make laws for the good governance of Nigeria, but then for every law, there must be a clear purpose, a clear vision, a clear spirit behind the law. Now, if we ask ourselves one question, what is the essence of a national anthem? I would say, just like other national symbols, the national anthem represents the tradition, the history, the beliefs of a nation and its people. Hence, it helps evoke feelings of patriotism among citizenry and reminds them of their nation's glory, beauty, and rich heritage. So the question I would want to ask is, what does this old national anthem remind us of? What is the history behind the old national anthem that our brother, Honorable Professor, is asking us to adopt? There are several questions that are left unanswered. So I would stand this morning as a Nigerian or this afternoon as a Nigerian to say no to this act. I stand to oppose it, and I pray that we look at it critically and urge the sponsor, the House leader, to withdraw this bill and perhaps take a second look at it and represent same if necessary.
I want to commend Professor Julius Ihombere, the famous academician in this country, and at the same time the leader of this 10th Assembly, for bringing in the need for us to change the current way of doing things that is not yielding any positive result. I want members, sentiment aside, to understand the reason why the current national anthem must go, and we must go back to where something that can work.
Let's think something that will bring progress, prosperity, stability to the economy of this nation and to improve the lives of common man in Nigeria.
Those speaking against have spoken, and it's a balanced argument. I just put the question. Those in support of this motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill was subsequently committed to public hearing in line with parliamentary procedure.
The decision to alter a nation's anthem is not one to be taken lightly, as it reflects the very essence of our national identity and heritage. It is pertinent to me to state at this juncture the objective of the bill. The bill in a nutshell seeks to make provision for Nigeria to revert to its old national anthem that will promote better symbol for unity, peace, and prosperity compared to the current one. The new anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, will inspire in us the zeal to build a fully integrated and indivisible nation, whereby all citizens will live in unity and harmony.
We were determined not to do the third and final reading of this bill until we would have subjected it to public scrutiny. Hopefully, what takes place here today will be sufficient for us to proceed to the next stage. If it's otherwise deemed necessary, further consultation will be done.
The present national anthem, which, with all respect, does not have the gravitas, the soul, the heartbeat of the nation. It is not energizing. It is not aggregative. I, as a humble, patriotic pan-Nigerian, I've always looked at these issues from that Nigerian perspective, how we can make our country better than it is now. Which was why, Mr. President, sir, as far back as Wednesday, 2nd of July, 2014, that's 10 years ago, at the plenary session of the National Conference, National Confab, I moved the motion for the change of our national anthem back to the one of 1960 on our independence. That motion was hotly debated by the 492 delegates at the National Confab, drawn from every spectrum of the Nigerian society. And it was carried. And indeed, nostalgically, the entire plenary session stood up and sang the old national anthem. So, bringing it back is well overdue. It has better lyrics in context and content, like the Senate President said, it is better than the other one. As I end this, looking at the beautiful lyrics and the meaning, I want you to listen to the meaning. Nigeria, we hail thee, we greet you. Our own dear native land. Our own dear native land. This is our land. We don't have any other. Though tribe and tongue may differ, like Ahmadu Bello conversed with Nnamdi Azikiwe, we accept our tribes and tongue are different. But in brotherhood, we stand. It didn't stop there. Nigerians, all of us, we are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. We are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. The second stanza that Senate leader suggests should be the national pledge. He said, our flag, the flag we are saying should be changed now, shall be a symbol. Can you see the meaning of a flag, the importance? That truth and justice reign. Truth and justice. Remember, conscience is an open wound. Only the truth can heal it. That was what Madam Fodio told us. Truth and justice. Social justice, no peace of the graveyard. And this national anthem recognizes that we are looking for truth and justice. They must reign. Then, whether we are in peace or in battle, like during the Civil War, because this one will make sure it never comes again. In peace or in battle, honored. And this we count as gain to hand on to who? Our children. What are we handing over to them? A banner without stain. Listen to it. We didn't forget God. We decided to bring God to the epicenter of it all, because we can't do anything without him. We say, oh God of all creation, you created all of us, including me talking. If he says I should drop dead now, that's bye-bye. But I know I will live to 120 years. I will live up to 120 years. That's what Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 tells me. 120 years. All of us here will live up to 120 years. Did I hear all of us say amen? Now, he said, oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. One request. What is this one request? Say, help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. Because the feeling of the common man, the Franz Fanon's wretched of the earth, the hoi polloi, is that the big men, all of us sitting down here, have oppressed him. That's what the average person of the street thinks. So we are saying, this flag is saying, no man will be oppressed. Then we need what? And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. God bless Nigeria. Amen. God bless the Senate that is producing it. God bless the National Assembly.
The whole national anthem of Nigeria, we heard it. For us, it's true to itself. It encapsulates and captures in reality the true Nigerian situation. Though tribes and tongue in brotherhood we stand. There are no pretensions that one American president said that America is not won by blood or by soil. America is won by ideas and citizens, what it means to lift a citizen beyond private and public, beyond his personal interests. And so, yes, we are of different parentage, we are different tribes, we are different religions, but that old ancient anthem made us to understand that, look, irrespective of those primordial differences, in brotherhood we stand.
If a foreigner can give us what speaks to our mind, what brings us together, what instills in us that spirit of patriotism, I think we should go back to it. So I support this bill holistically, and I urge Nigerians to welcome them.
It is my considered view that the decision to change Nigeria's national anthem, whether by replacing it with the old or the new one, is one that is forward-looking and shows that those concerned, those involved, are constantly thinking about the goods of Nigeria. However, I believe that it should be subjected to a wider process of citizen participation.
I think it's important for posterity's sake, for members of the public to understand that this is a bill and not the amendment of the Constitution. The procedure for a bill is that it's sponsored by the Senate leader at first, and once it is sponsored, there is a first reading on the floor of the Senate. Then there is a second reading where a debate is taken on the floor of the Senate. That debate has already occurred. It is after that debate takes place that we now have a public hearing to listen to members of the public. And I think it's important to understand that the Senate has followed the appropriate procedure for enacting an act of parliament. I think it's important that we put that on the table.
After harvesting the views of Nigerians, the report was presented to the lawmakers.
It is pertinent to state categorically that for the first time in the history of the nation that the parliament is making a legal framework for providing the national anthem for the country and has followed all the steps of lawmaking process, including public hearing, in order to elicit for opinions of Nigerians. The parliament considered the proposed bill important as the national anthem is a representation of the country's history, culture, and people. It is a symbol of national identity and unity, reflecting the aspirations and values of the Nigerian people.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this bill be now read a third time. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
With the adoption of the report, the bill subsequently went through third reading and was passed into law.
A bill for an act to provide for the national anthem of Nigeria and for matters related thereto 2024. Third reading taken and passed. Let me, at this stage, appreciate distinguished Senator Mongunu and also all the other committees that worked on this bill, and I appreciate all Nigerians, very prominent Nigerians who attended the public hearing on this bill, including senior advocates of Nigeria. I think one of them was senior advocate Mike Ozekhome, and so many others. The former Speaker of the House of Representatives and former Governor of Sokoto State, who was also there, very distinguished Senator Tambua, and many of our colleagues and other members of the Nigerian public, civil society organizations, and others. I want to thank Senator Mongunu, who was leading this joint committee of the Senate, for a wonderful job done. The nation will never forget you. And for just the avoidance of doubt, the bill that has just been passed now goes like this. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle, we must honor the flag, and this we count as gain. To hand on to our generation, to hand on to our children, a banner without stain. O God of creation, I'm now quoting direct, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. My distinguished colleagues, I believe this aptly captures the mood of the nation. That even if you were to be from Adamawa and you have over 87 ethnic groups or tribes, your tongues may differ, but in brotherhood we stand. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assented to the National Anthem Bill. What the National Assembly did was to give life to this burning desire as the People's Parliament.